The Call of Duty franchise is legendary for its adrenaline-pumping multiplayer, but its campaigns have also left a lasting mark on gamers with gripping stories, unforgettable characters, and cinematic gameplay. From the World War II trenches to futuristic battlefields, these campaigns have defined what it means to be immersed in interactive storytelling. Here's our ranking of the top 10 Call of Duty campaigns ever made. At number 10, Call of Duty World War II.
Set upon a mighty endeavor. Souls will be shaken with the violences of war.
After nearly a decade break from the setting that launched the series, Call of Duty's return to form in 2017 was such a coming home party for the franchise that they named the game World War II. But this return to roots led by Sledgehammer Games isn't precisely the greatest hits of World War II experience you would imagine. Instead, you're met with a much more intimate story about Private Red Daniels and his squad living through some of the most pivotal moments of the U.S. 1st Infantry Division's fight from the Normandy invasion to the Rhine. To this day, World War II features some of the most over-the-top sequences ever seen in the series, from the bell tower collapse to the train crash. And while those insane moments often make you forget about the war around you, World War II still has plenty of well-born heart to give, especially when it ends with one of the most gut-wrenching walks you'll ever make in a video game. Number 9, Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
America's been trying to install democracies in nations for a century, and it hasn't worked one time.
Call of Duty Advanced Warfare was a bold new direction for a series that needed to get out of its comfort zone. Gone were the slow-paced tactical missions, callbacks to historical battles, and realistic guns in favor of exosuits, lasers, and a plethora of futuristic weaponry. Advanced Warfare's campaign was much more than a Call of Duty with lasers, thanks partly to its multidimensional villain, Jonathan Irons, and its exploration into the world of private military contractors, American interventionism, and, as the name implies, advanced warfare. Underneath its flashy, over-the-top summer blockbuster action, there's a terrifying story about the dangers of private militarization that makes this a must-play for fans of the series or someone looking for something a little different in their action shooters. Number 8, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War.
Detailed information from the Manhattan Project was stolen from Los Alamos by the Russian spy known as Perseus.
The Black Ops series has distinguished itself from Call of Duty by consistently experimenting with its campaigns. In Black Ops Cold War, familiar characters like Mason and Woods return, but the main focus is on new characters Bell and Russell Adler and their experiences in the CIA during a crucial period of the Cold War. The narrative delves into some of the darkest moments in U.S. intelligence history and deviates from the typical series formula by incorporating puzzles, branching storylines, and even a mission where players trade their firearms for some classic spy tactics. Although the campaign is relatively short, this installment in the Black Ops series delivers numerous memorable moments that will keep players engaged until the end credits roll. Number 7, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
They appear to be tracking our fleet. SDF destroyers inbound!
All stations, shots fired!
Hold up!
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare came at the tail end of gamers no longer wanting Call of Duty to be an epic, wall-running space adventure, which is unfortunate because under its by-the-numbers hood is a well-written shooter campaign with some of the best acting seen in the series. The plot is somewhat thin. You play as a newly promoted Reyes who has to command the American Marines against the painfully, obviously evil SDF led by Game of Thrones' Kit Harington. But beyond the overarching narrative lies a personal story of friends who genuinely care for each other. We've always said that Infinite Warfare is the Halo Reach of Call of Duty campaigns, and it's apparent this is a character's first story above all else. But beyond that, the space-spanning adventures gameplay is still enjoyable. From hacking robots to piloting jackals in dogfighting space combat, Infinite Warfare is one of the campaigns you should watch if the almost too familiar setting turns you off the first time. Number 6, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019.
They could be anywhere.
We need to move fast.
What do you suggest?
A business trip.
It's a risky move to reboot one of the most beloved and essential games in a mega-popular franchise like Call of Duty, but 2019's Call of Duty Modern Warfare pulls this off in a way that few reboots have before. The gameplay feels fresh, and while its time-worn setting during a Middle Eastern conflict wasn't groundbreaking, the game features exceptional attention to detail with its presentation and one of the most memorable and realistic depictions of a slow-paced infiltration on an enemy base we've seen in the series thus far. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019 is not only one of the best examples of rebooting a series correctly, but also an excellent entry in a series full of memorable campaigns. Number 5, Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
We build computers, robots, whole unmanned armies, and no one ever asked.
At the time, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 was a much-needed breath of fresh air to the series and fundamentally changed Call of Duty. Black Ops 2 gives the player a bit more control over how they want to see the story play out in the form of branching pathways, optional objectives, and multiple endings. These elements combined make this one of the series' most replayable and intriguing entries. Partly set in the late 80s as the Cold War draws to a close, and partly in 2025 during a second Cold War, Black Ops 2 sees Alex Mason return and his son's introduction, who features in the 2025 segment. However, Black Ops 2 particularly shines thanks to its main antagonist, Raul Menendez. He's more than another Call of Duty villain, but instead the tragic product of the Cold War. Number 4, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 2009.
This is a time for heroes. A time for legends.
Drop it!
Place? This belongs to you, sir.
Infinity Ward's follow-up to its powerhouse leap into the modern era did not disappoint. It delivered exactly what players wanted. More and more modern warfare. The fictional political theater got more intriguing. We got to know Soap and Captain Price even better, and who doesn't remember that insane ending which saw Shepard stab you in the chest with a knife, only for you to mash a button to pull it out of your chest and throw it into his eye in an ultimate act of revenge. This Call of Duty campaign couldn't be missed, lest you left out the "did you see that?" conversations at the water cooler. Number 3, Call of Duty 2. The original Call of Duty was an excellent first-person shooter for PC by a startup developer called Infinity Ward. Its founders previously worked on the Medal of Honor for EA, but Activision signed the new studio to a deal, and after the team's first World War II set campaign was a hit, they set out to top themselves with the sequel, a Day 1 launch title for the Xbox 360. The campaign again set during the Second World War was incredible, with the 360 able to render volumetric smoke effects so gorgeously that smoke grenades became both a gameplay mechanic and a new next-gen tech toy to play with. Number 2, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 2007. Call of Duty was a big deal before Modern Warfare arrived in 2007. Still, when the fourth mainline game in the franchise time jumped its setting from World War II into the modern era, it also launched it from a blockbuster series into the blockbuster series. Call of Duty became the #1 first-person shooter with this release, and for good reason. This campaign introduced memorable heroes like Soap and Captain Price, and let us play incredibly cool moments like the AC-130 gunship mission, the storm-ravaged cargo ship escape, dying in a nuclear blast, and the unforgettable FU finale where you get to fire one last bullet. Number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 2010. Call of Duty Black Ops brought the powerhouse first-person shooter franchise to the Bay of Pigs, Vietnam, and beyond for an espionage-filled trip through the 60s, and brought the franchise's best-ever campaign and its best-ever soundtrack along with it. Black Ops took you on a dizzying ride that culminated in one of the coolest unexpected twists in any major game around that time, and certainly the biggest Call of Duty story surprise we'd seen before that or since. Treyarch, Call of Duty's other developer aside from the series creator at Infinity Ward, absolutely leveled up on this one, turning its work on the impressive world at war into a stealth prologue to Black Ops and proving that it deserved to be held in the same high esteem as Infinity Ward always had been. Thanks for joining me as we rank the top 10 best Call of Duty campaigns of all time. Whether you're a diehard fan of the classics or you love the new takes on the series, there's something in Call of Duty for everyone to enjoy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button to support the channel and make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more rankings, reviews, and gaming discussions. We've got plenty more coming your way.